Good morning, all to agents. This is Kevin Lauren. I'm the Director of Training and Marketing here. And today we're going to go over Dotloop again. Pretty much everybody is starting to use Dotloop. We have a couple of people that have not logged in yet. And so we really want to get everybody logged in at least so they have access to Dotloop. So we're going to get into that today. I'm also going to go over one little thing in the agent marketing system regarding QR codes. So that'll be good. And before I get into today's presentation, I'm going to bring Cameron Alley from Clearview Mortgage on to speak to us about what's happening in mortgage land. How you doing this morning, Cameron?
Good. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Absolutely happy Wednesday.
Looking good as usual, Kevin.
Thanks, pal.
All right. So I'll keep it short and sweet today, guys. But we got some really good news on second homes and investment properties for your buyers. I don't know if a lot of people knew, but on January 14th, 2021, the basically Fannie and Freddie Mac they stopped buying investment loans on the secondary market, which obviously means that the rates went up quite a bit on those properties. But on September 15th, they removed that they started buying those loans again. So we're seeing like a 0.5% improvement on investment properties and on vacation homes or second homes. So basically what that means is that the payments are going to be a heck of a lot less, and it's going to be easier for people to qualify with a 0.5 point difference in rate. You're talking, a couple $100 that you'd save on your payment on a new purchase. So really big news there. So if you have any clients that were looking to buy, investment properties or second homes or vacation homes or something, definitely make sure to give them a call since pricing's improved so much. It might be a good time to hop back on that search. So, and then another thing that I wanted to remind everybody and maybe some of the new realtors we have online now, we could do first-time home buyer conventional loans, which is really cool because a lot of times when you have a first-time home buyer, you have to get a down payment assistance program, right? But sometimes those programs, they take a long time to close. They don't necessarily look as good on an offer. So I do want to remind everyone that if you have a borrower or two borrowers, as long as they're both first-time home buyers, you can do a 3% down conventional loan, which is actually less than what you would need to put down for an FHA loan. And then the PMI is going to be a lot less, so the payment's going to be a lot better. And then they're not going to be stuck with that mortgage insurance for the life of the loan. Because I don't know, if a lot of people know, but FHA loans, you have that PMI forever. So basically the two big things to take out of that is that you don't always have to, if someone has 3% down, the first-time home buyers, you don't have to use that down payment assistance program because 3% usually, is not too bad. And then it's going to look a lot better when you package that up to the listing agent too, because conventional loan is going to close fast and there's not going to be any loopholes you have to jump through like with some other programs. So keep that in mind. And then as far as rates, just want to give you a quick little pricing scenario. Right now on a 20% down purchase on an $850,000 purchase price, we're looking at a 2.875 no points, which is obviously really good. Most loan costs are covered in that scenario. On a 10%, you're looking at a 2.99, same scenario. And then for like a 650 purchase price, let's say you're in the valley around there, 20% down, you're looking at a 2.75, no points. And if you do 10%, 2.875. So rates last week had a pretty bad week, but this week they came tumbling right back down. So it's pretty volatile right now. So it's all about just timing with your lock and getting your clients priced up at the right time. So, but that's all I have today. And as always, if you guys have any questions or want to run any scenarios by us or need pre-quals or cross-quals, you can always reach us at 619-313-7003.
Awesome,
Thanks,
Cameron.
Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, I just literally took advantage of a refi, cash out refi with Clearview. I timed it really well, or Bill helped me time it really well, and was able to, reduce my rate and pull some cash out to, pay off some debt, and I've got a couple of projects that I'm trying to work on. So now's the time. That was actually my second refi with them because, money's not getting cheaper. So anyway, thanks for that. I appreciate it, Cameron.
You got it, guys.
All right. Have a great day, Cameron. So what I wanted to show you guys today, first of all, welcome to a lot of our new agents. It's great to have all of you guys on the line. We appreciate you guys tuning in. These are, a lot of times we have corporate communications or things that we want to go over. So even if the topic isn't exactly what you need help with, it's a good idea to check in with us on Wednesdays and we can go over a few things. So one thing that I've found, or I've been noticing, and I know everybody else has been noticing this too, is the resurgence of QR codes, right? So, with COVID, we've been seeing, you go into a restaurant and instead of handing you a paper menu, the waitress or the waiter says, hey, scan the QR code, on the little card or, underneath the glass on the table, and you'll be able to see the menu on your phone, right? So everybody's experienced that. So that's just been, basically a new form of the way that we, interact with people. So our agent marketing system does give us the ability to create QR codes. So let's just hop into one of our accounts here. We'll use Tim Manna. And so when you get into your agent marketing account and you click on leads, down at the bottom is dynamic QR codes. So we can create these QR codes depending on what we want to do. And you'll notice that you can create a QR code that goes to a URL, like a landing page within your website or just your website, or a specific search of properties in an area. Right? So we can use these QR codes in our print marketing and in all kinds of other, ways that can be very, very clever. So I want you guys to start to experiment with these QR codes, right? So, if you're doing any kind of flyers or anything like that, make sure you put a little QR code in the bottom that at least takes that person to your website, right? So it's a really cool feature. For a long time, QR codes, like right when they first came out, you had to have an app on your phone in order to read them, right? And so half people had no idea what to do with them. Now, everybody pretty much knows that your phone camera has the ability, you just pull out your camera and you scan that and it goes to the website that you send the person to. So anyway, I just wanted everybody to be aware of that. I didn't see that many agents using it. And so it's something certainly worth pointing out. So please check that out. If you don't know how to do it, let me know. I can help you, but it's as easy as going to leads, dynamic QR codes, and create whatever kind of QR code you want. And of course, once you've created it, you just download the JPEG or the GIF or the PNG, and you just embed that image file onto your flyer. So really cool stuff. I've even seen this now in TV commercials where on the screen, it says, hey, you're sitting on your couch and you just pull your phone out and your camera. And so I'm seeing that starting to happen. So you could even thinking in our world, you could use that in video, right? So you could create your own videos. And one of the things on the video is scan this QR code, and all of a sudden you're on, a landing page that you're sending that person to. So there's a lot to be done with that. I'll probably have a full training on it, but at least get in there and experiment with it. So now I'm going to bring our favorite TC, Lauren Noack, on the line, and let me promote her to panelist. All right. And Lauren, you should be able to speak to us now, and you should be a panelist, right?
Yes. Hello, everybody.
Good morning, Lauren. So Lauren, of course, is our go-to TC. She's the owner of TC Advantage, and we really recommend that you guys utilize her services and let her, do all the stuff in Dotloop. And so take it away, Lauren. Good morning.
All right. Good morning. I just wanted to review again the process for getting these loops going. We're still, making adjustments, and we're open to your feedback as far as some of the specifics. in the loops and how you guys work best and how we can all make sure that we have a timely process to be able to approve the files for releasing a CDA and getting them all closed out and making sure at the same time that you and your clients are also protected. So I'm just going to share my screen here real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we just, we want to make sure everybody knows the process. And, obviously we're here to get paid. So we want to make sure that you know exactly how to do it.
Host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, I'm hogging it, huh? 1 sec. All right. Here we go. All panelists now. And hosts. All right, try it now, Lauren.
You have to unshare.
Okay, there we go.
Let's see.
Should be able to share now. Great.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome, thank you.
So, okay, so when you log into your dashboard in Dotloop, it's fairly straightforward. You'll go over to the corner and add a loop. You can enter in the property address or the MLS number, and it will pull up all of those details. And then it will ask you, let me see if I can just do a, then you'll pick your template. And so if you're creating a loop while it's a listing or while it's a purchase, you'll have kind of those two options: leases, vacant land, and then your exempt purchase. So specifically, whether it's a probate or an REO. If it's a trust or a successor trustee, you can still use the standard template, and there will be options for those specific requirements. But sometimes what we think might be an exempt seller in a trust isn't always. And so it's a lot easier. When in doubt, you can just use the standard. But when you're for sure, it's a probate or an REO, you can use these exempt seller checklists as well. So you can go in and select that template. This will pull a photo from the MLS if you already have, or if you want to upload a photo, you don't have to. And then it will create your loop for you. So from here, you can enter in your closing date, and it will give you kind of a nice countdown on the circle here. As you have documents completed and uploaded, you'll be able to get kind of a visual representation of how complete the file is.
I like that feature, Lauren. I think I'm like a visual learner. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you see your closing date is getting close and you're not in the circle isn't filled in very far, then sometimes that's a nice visual indicator to hop in there and verify what's in there.
For sure.
So, and then you can obviously update the status. The status here really is for kind of your own purposes as well. Once you're in your dashboard and you have multiple properties in there, it will allow you to kind of create filters and be able to access the property quickly. And then you can just, manually enter in a price if you would like. And then from there, you can view the loop. So it will open the loop up for you, and you'll see it's already applied templates with document placeholders in here. And the placeholders, there are specific documents that are required. These should be with every contract in every file. The other element of these documents being required is that you cannot submit them for review unless they are uploaded. So this is important to remember when you're looking to get approval and you want to have your file reviewed, because unless you submit the documents for review, we're not notified. And so we don't know to go in and check the documents. We're able, if you say, you send us a message or an email or something, hey, my file is, ready, I need a CDA. We can go in and view the documents, but we can't mark them off as approved or leave a note or let you know if they've been returned unless they've been submitted. So in order to submit, you don't need to have the full file complete. It's broken up into these folders, and you can submit one folder at a time. You can submit them all, however they come in. Once you've uploaded all of the required documents for that specific folder, you can then submit that folder to be reviewed. So ideally, that would be done once you have all of your listing documents and it's, an active listing, then you would submit that folder to be reviewed. And once you get your accepted offer, you would upload those documents and that would get reviewed.
And Lauren, again, just to clarify, so what happens is you upload the document, and then the review button is kind of small and inconspicuous. It's up in the right there. So I've had agents, being like, I don't know how to submit for review. It's as easy as that. It's that little button, submit for review. That's all it is.
Yes. And so
go ahead.
No, I agree. It's let me just see if I can upload. The escrow section has kind of the smallest documents here. So let me see if I can pull, let's see. I think whoops. So the other thing too is that if you have documents, you can just drag and drop them and it will upload. Sometimes as it's uploading, the actual placeholder will disappear. And then, so now you'll see it pop back up and it's in bold. So you know that a document has been added, and it will change the document status from submitted to not submitted. And so just keep that in mind. If you're trying to go too fast, as I have been known to do many times, it'll be just uploading one and then you'll try and upload the same thing and it just might take a minute.
And depending on your computer speed too,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So okay, so once you have all of the documents here, and if you have additional documents, you can add those. It doesn't necessarily, have to be just specific to the required documents. But once you have all of those uploaded, then you can go over here to the submit for review. And this will ask you which of these folders do you want to submit for review. And so we've only done the escrow documents folder, and that's just your basic contract review once it's in escrow. And then you would hit submit. And so now, well, it tells me because I'm the one reviewing them, but now it will change the status of just this specific folder that the contract documents need review. And so I'll go through, we'll review the documents for compliance. Once they've been reviewed and approved, then you will see the status change here that it's been approved. And so again, this is, we have to have the documents submitted in order to do this. And so once you have the basic required documents for the offer, your escrow documents, your main disclosure documents, and the reports, there's only a few that are required. If you're having a home inspection or a waiver, your NHD or your prelim, once those have been completed, then we can get it approved for the CDA. So you can go through and these will all get approved and reviewed as they're submitted. Within 48 hours of being submitted, the documents will get reviewed. And then you'll receive feedback if you need it. But then once that final element, so you can have, everything reviewed and submitted except the escrow documents, and whatever is the final element before CDA approval, then once that's uploaded and completed, then that status will get changed to CDA approved, and the office will get notified and be able to release the CDA. So that's kind of how we have it set up process-wise at this time.
Right. And so what happens, guys, is, that is in a perfect world. So that way we're able to issue the CDA where you get paid directly from escrow. So sometimes that doesn't happen, and we get the escrow check directly. So in that case, what happens is our CFO will issue an ACH transaction. Okay. So the exact process there is, okay, we receive a check from escrow. It has to be deposited into our bank. The bank usually puts a 1-day hold on that. Once the check clears on our side, then we are able to schedule an ACH. The ACH takes 2 business days. So much better off to get all of this stuff completed well prior to closing and well prior to the escrow getting completed, because that way you get paid from escrow, right, Lauren?
Exactly. And then that way escrow cuts a check, one to you, one to the office, and one to your TC.
Exactly.
So
the most important part, right?
Exactly. For us, our company, we get paid when you get paid. So, you know,
Right.
It's just as important to us to get these items uploaded and cleared and approved in a timely manner. So, because everybody likes, just as much as the buyer wants the keys at closing, the agent wants the check at closing. So
Absolutely.
That's what we're trying to facilitate here. I just wanted to review quickly as well what the required documents are and kind of the process behind them. The listing documents, these are all in order of the initial bundle for your listing agreement. And again, I've mentioned in previous webinars, the reason that these are all split up is because it's much easier if one of these items doesn't have a signature. It's a lot easier to just get that one document signed and re-uploaded instead of having to do the whole package and then re-upload that all together. And, you know, if 1 out of 17 pages is the only thing that needs correction, but then you re-upload it, now we have to go back through all those 17 pages and re-review it. And so it's a faster process in the long run. So if anybody had questions on that aspect. So this is the main bundle for the listing paperwork. These should all come together anyway. And then the MLS, these are optional, but ideally you would want one or the other. And so you might notice as we're going through the transaction, some items that maybe were optional previously, those might get changed to required. So if in your contract there is agreement for a rent back, then one of these items for either the seller in possession, which is for 29 days or less, or the lease after sale, which is 30 days or more, now those might become required. So keep that in mind as you're going through some of these things. We just want to give you the initial items to be able to submit the file. But throughout the transaction, other documents might become required as you go. And so again, for the purchase, you might not always have counter offers, but if you do, it's not really optional to upload them. They're just marked as optional so that if you don't happen to have a counter in your contract, it's not going to prevent you from submitting the file for review, if that makes sense. And so just your basic contract documents, and then something from the MLS, which sometimes these are pocket listings or off market. And so we might make that optional as well. Sometimes people get kind of hung up on that. But something from, you know, the tax data, the property profile, a realist tax printout, something that's going to show us the tax information. And then either a pre-approval letter or the proof of funds if it's all cash. Technically, both are required in the contract, but one or the other just for submitting the file for review. And then all these other documents in here, they may or may not come into play throughout the transaction. The other thing to keep in mind as well, if your file cancels, we do need a copy of the signed cancellation. So make sure that that gets uploaded so we can properly close out and cancel the file. Because we want to make sure that we have a record of that for the brokerage. Escrow documents, the broker signed commission authorization, I think that's going to get updated as well. Sometimes we don't necessarily have that. I don't know off the top of my head what the process is for you guys. Kevin, maybe you can speak to that. As far as, does the commission get signed with the CDA, or are they two separate things? But if you have the commission.
Yeah, in a perfect world, the CDA is signed at the same time.
Okay. So you might not necessarily have the broker signed commission authorization, but we do need a copy of it just to see, confirm that those amounts are correct and that we have it on record. So
exactly. And our office, of course, verifies that and double checks it. And then that's when the CDA is actually signed and issued. Excellent.
Right. So we can update that specific as well, because I know a couple people have gotten hung up on that not being able to submit without that broker signature.
Right.
And then as far as the disclosures go, the contingency removals, we need at least one contingency removal in the file. So if you only have one contingency removal and it's for all of them, you can just upload it into this second slot. If you have three, you can upload them here and then upload an additional number 3 if you need to. This is just, again, these are just the minimum requirements. An agent visual for both agents, ideally. And then your basics, the hazard booklet receipt, or the NHD signature page also has a copy of those links, but it's really best practice to include the actual receipt from the booklet, because those links are so tiny and not everybody knows it. So we do want to have the actual receipt in there. And then the fire hardening and defensible space advisory. This is whether or not the property is even in the fire zone. It doesn't apply only if it's in a fire hazard area. So we need this regardless. Your market conditions, a seller FERPTA, these are all self-explanatory. And then there's a section for other documents that may or may not apply, but you'll see none of those are required for submitting. This is also to kind of give you a visual idea of what you may need to be asking for throughout the transaction to kind of trigger most of these are really common forms. And then the reports we went over, your basic home inspection or a waiver, NHD, the prelim, the termite. If it is part of the contract, we do want the buyer to sign it. It's really best practice to make sure that they've seen it, they've signed it. Technically, buyer and seller should sign it, but that's what we're looking for. If there's any city reports, any other inspections, things like that, just because they're not marked as required, if you have them, please upload them. It's really, the idea is that this is here for you for 4 or 5 years down the road. If something comes up, or 3 years down the road, and you may or may not know where these documents are, we want to make sure that we have these for you. And then for the final documents, we need a home warranty, which I can make that optional as well. I don't think you guys have a broker specific warranty waiver.
No.
So that may or may not always apply in every transaction. But then the final walkthrough form, the VP, and then these items typically come in the escrow closing package, and then a copy of the MLS closed, just to verify that those closing dates line up. So those are the basic items, and that's kind of what we're looking for in those transactions.
No, that's perfect, Lauren. So, you guys get all those things in there, submit for review, and please do it well prior to closing, or as soon as humanly possible. And then that way we can get that CDA issued, get it over to escrow, and make sure you get paid from the closing.
Yep.
From the SO. Well, Lauren, appreciate you coming on our webinar as always. And one other little minor announcement I have is we will also be starting a text messaging campaign, just intra-office texts. So it's going to come from kind of a random number, but I'm going to send out a email communication to everybody so you know exactly when you can expect that to come out. Hopefully we'll have that done by tomorrow, and you guys will have we'll have a way to communicate with you guys via text. It's not meant to be invasive, but it's meant to be effective. That way, if we have communications that we need to get out, sometimes it's a little easier than email. If you're like me, you get 300, 400 emails a day, and sometimes it's difficult to see every email. So text communication for intra-office you know, stuff that's important is, I think, going to be a great way for us to stay in contact. So we'll be coming out in about a day. Besides that, I hope you guys have a great week and get out there and make it a productive week. And we'll see you guys on the webinar next week. Bye-bye.